want to take a look at the 2022 gravel race season, what it looks like for me, what my plans are, and how I'm going to prepare for it. But before that, let's take a look at what I've been up to lately during the off-season. During the quote-unquote off-season, I wanted to still train in some way, exercise. So this is what I chose, running, which was kind of terrible, but we're getting better at it. I also installed a pull-up bar over the summer, so I need to validate the reasons for doing that. So I'm using this pull-up bar, hopefully to do a muscle-up someday, but we'll see. I also purchased a used mountain bike online. This is gonna be great for when I don't want to ruin my gravel bikes in the salt and the snow. I can just use this thing. I did some push-ups. There's a timer on my phone because I wanted to do 100 in 10 minutes with breaks, of course. I did that. And lastly, I spent some time on the couch just relaxing. It's been fun to take the focus solely away from cycling for a little while, but I need to come back and decide which races I'm going to do for the 2022 season. I have to make these decisions right now because some of the registrations open this weekend, and if I miss out or I don't decide in time, I'll be on a wait list or not registered for the race at all. A race like the Paris-Roubaix sells out pretty quickly, and I've been on that wait list before, and it's pretty anxiety inducing. My primary focus is going to be on the Michigan Gravel Race Series, or the races that make up the series. First, I need to decide if I'm going to do the short, long, or ultra course. I'm not much of an ultra rider, so we're going to go back to the short and long course. I did the short last year, so let's try something new and go with the long course option this year. Here we are at the Michigan Gravel Race Series website. If you scroll down a bit on the left-hand side, you'll see a little bit about how the series works, and on the right-hand side, there are some links. For example, the long course, if I click on that, it's going to show me all the races that have a long course option. So Melting Man, Paris-Roubaix, they offer distances that are considered part of the long course. We've got the Dirty 30 the weekend after the Paris-Roubaix, and after the Dirty 30 is Lowell, after that's Hart Hills. So you could fill up the entire springtime with racing, and that's pretty much my plan. I've got to make a couple more decisions, but here are the 5 races that I'm looking at doing. So we'll kick off the season with a bang with the Paris-Roubaix, followed by the Dirty 30. Up next is the Waterloo Grit and Gravel, then the Calpi Classic, and lastly, the Lord of the Springs mountain bike race. Now, if I could do all the races in the MGRS, I absolutely would. But the summers are short here in Michigan, and there are some other things that I want to do, including other races like a local biathlon, and I'm really interested in getting into cross racing later in the season. Nonetheless, these are the first 5 races that I have coming up in the 2022 season, and I've given myself almost 4 months to prepare. That's plenty of time, but this is where things get a little bit tricky. I did do an FTP test just a couple of days ago. It's the ramp test, not something like a 20-minute or a 60-minute test, so I do believe it has overestimated my abilities a little bit, but it gave me a number of 250 watts, and that's what I'm going to use to set some of this training up going forward. Now that I've got that FTP number, I can take that information to the World Wide Web and find out exactly what I need to do to train and be at my top performance for these races. Now, I consume a lot of content when it comes to cycling, from podcasts to videos to articles, etc. So I know some of the trigger words. And one of the things I've heard a lot is that you need to do base training just after your off season to build this aerobic base, and then build upon that and peak for your race. So let's start there. I found this website on Road Cycling Academy, and it's called Base Training for Cyclists, Top 5 Benefits. Talks about all the great things base training can do for you: improve VO2 max, overall condition, improve muscle energy supply, increase mitochondria, etc. And I'm totally about it, right? Let's do 8 to 10 weeks of threshold, sub-threshold work and just get strong as heck, do some intervals, and show up on race day in peak form, right? Awesome, let's do it. But wait, this guy on Training Peaks says that the whole base training ideology is a myth and amateur cyclists don't need to do it. Basically, he claims that you don't even need a huge aerobic base anyway because you're not a pro athlete, or I'm not a pro athlete. Another training model that I've heard quite a bit about is called Polarized Training. It's been popularized by Steven Seiler, who's been on almost every one of the cycling podcasts that I listen to. So I searched up Polarized Training, and I found this article by Trainer Road called Polarized Training for Cyclists, What It Is and How to Try It. And they do a pretty good job of describing it, but they also take passive-aggressive jabs for 15 paragraphs before offering you Polarized Training on Trainer Road. Go figure. Unfortunately, the internet's left me with more questions than answers, but here's something that I do know. In 2021, so far, I've ridden for 394 hours, pretty much unstructured training, races, group rides, what have you, and I have not gotten any faster. I assume the answer is that I need to do some sort of structured training, and why not start with base training? With that said, I've built out my own program in Word, just 1 month's worth, to see if this is something that I can do, stick to, and potentially get faster with. There's not a lot of information here, but it's just enough for me to know what to do. So tomorrow, on Saturday, I'll do 2 by 10 minutes at 200 watts over the course of an hour and a half workout. Now what's cool about this is I can actually build these workouts in Zwift. So if we click on custom workouts, I've already built week 1 and 2, the Saturday workout right here, 2 10-minute blocks of 200 watts, some downtime in the middle, 35 minutes of 140 watts. It's pretty much just easy riding in between. These first 2 weeks are identical because I don't really know if I can even complete this workout. Maybe it's too difficult, maybe it's not hard enough. What I want to do is as I go through and complete days, I'd like to highlight in green the things I completed, maybe in yellow the things I can't complete or I had to make an adjustment to, etc. And if this first month goes well, I do have a prospective second month where things get even a little bit more difficult, where the wattage goes up, or where I add even more time. And the idea is to get progressively more difficult through this plan and get stronger. I do need to say here that this is not a coach provided plan, it's not based on science, it's just all right from my head, and I've never been a fast cyclist, so I wouldn't recommend following this. It's just an experiment on myself. So that's pretty much the plan. We'll have some good evidence of whether or not it pays off when the racing starts. And if you're out there working on your season as well, good luck to you, and we'll see you next time.